Well, good evening. I'm your host, Robert Wilson, with Cowboy Wisdom Hypno Acuity, presenting the 7 Ways Why podcast. Tonight, we're talking about 7 ways why I rocket out of my freaky holes of control. The freaky holes of control is when something outside of our comfort zone or something happens, chaos, challenge, adversity, first thing we do is freak out. So that is a hole of control. Then we think we're going to control the situation and take charge of it. And then all we do is get our overthinking mind involved. And then we just rise and then we stay stuck in the misery of the situation. Because anytime you freak out about something, that is the freaky hole of control and taking charge of things. And that is what I call from your subconscious mind mindsets of stubborn, hard-headed thinking, know-it-all ignorance, and everything has to be done my way. Bullheaded BF. That's me for sure. I rose out of that, but that used to be me. BS, stressing out and doubt, stuck inside the creepy hole of control and thinking I'm in charge of my life, which is just stress. It causes stress, and then I stress out about everything. And as I understand, stress is creepy, sabotaging torment, relentlessly embedding scornful snobbishness of my egotistical, arrogant mindset, take charge mindsets. Mindset is a bind that sets you inside, that is set by your controlling viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, and we always been taught to take charge. And as we take charge of something, we become rigid. Then we get all mad, and then we freak out over something. And if you can rise out of being in charge and control to face and embrace with a facilitator foresight and a participating poise, you shut out the noise of your egotistical arrogance and stubborn hard-headedness. Now understand and admit to me, my kooky hole of control thinking I can take charge and control of my life is a fallacy, because trying to control something outside of me is sheeple vandalizing, demising thinking, and thinking I'm in charge of my life, events, encounters, and experiences are fake and baked BS. I taught myself from, self-help, personal growth, I got to take charge and control. Well, if you take charge and control, just put a deal of put a cube of Jello right there, and if you're relaxed and listen, it's this way. But as soon as you try to take charge and control, you squeeze it, and then the Jello goes all over. The harder you squeeze chaos, the more you are in your freaking out hole of control, creepy hole of control, and all the kooky holes of control within you, because you're trying to think and know your way through that, and you're going nowhere. That's the thing about something I've really expanded into. When you're having chaos and challenges, relax. Listen to your free-flowing energy of your internal nous, naturally energizing, galvanizing gumption to listen your way and question your way through it. And, the more I understand this, I laughed at myself, because I had to take charge and you had to hit that just like that. Well, it didn't go nowhere. You question life like this, and it just filters through. So all the fake and bake BS I learned from outside sources and I taught myself passed away 5 seconds ago, as I now understand and admire. I face and embrace my daredevil facilitator my daredevil facilitator foresight and participating poise to listen, witness, and observe my daily events, encounters, and experiences through my inspired images of my desired outcomes, questions, understanding, comprehending, mother wisdom hearkens, liberating, innovative revelations to rise out of the situation, shine my intuitive enlightenment, illuminates my trails of triumph, chauffeurs me down to my beaches of bountiful bliss, relaxing in my lazy boy of pristine leisure. As I now am awakened and aware of the dare to communicate away my freaky hole, control, fraudulent thinking. I'm in charge of my life is a spooky hole of BS. I taught myself. I control it and I'm in charge. And the more rigid I get, the more frigid life becomes. And that is something I really understand. If I can listen, I listen for liberation. I think and know and bestowed doubt. And see, that's the thing we understand. If we don't think and know it, we become doubtful. And then that doubt becomes the limitation in our life. So I rose out of my comfort zone cloning as I freaked out. So I rose out of my cloning of being freaked out about my control, never being able to control anything. So today, everybody rockets out of their freaky holes of control that are self-embedded, subconscious mind representations from their thinking, knowing, and everything they've ever done to float and to glide through life with a genuine, listening, innovative dreamers, emancipating wizardry. How's that feel? Dreamers, emancipating wizardry. You feel the freedom. But you got to feel everything from your root chakra up because you got to rise out of everything in the body to the head, to the brain. As I now realize and admit my freaky holes of control are my comfort zone limitation, barriers and blockages of my self-taught torment. You know, this really is where the outside world never has tormented me. My thinking, knowing, stubbornness, and frozen in subconscious mind, frozen in time, are my own torment. You know, when you open up to this to understand all the torment, everything you think is in the outside world, it's inside you. It's inside me. So when I liberate me from me, my viewpoints, opinions, beliefs, and all my yuckity suck inside myself, I rise to my leisurely stroll through life that opens up my stupendous, trend-setting, rebellious optimism, loving life that chauffeurs me through life with the greatest of ease. Life's easy. I make it hard with my thinking, knowing, memory, mind, and I gotta do it. I don't want to do this. Oh, pick me. I was the best at that one. Oh, I was good at it. So when I rebelliously rose out of my freaky socialized holes of control that locked and blocked me in yesterday's way of thinking and knowing, time to change, heal, create, transform, and forgive my life. I taught myself from self-help, personal growth, and self-improvement, which is an extension of college education, manipulation of what people think and know, comfort zone sheepocracy, and the third world enslaving mindsets that we were taught from the fascist felons and their sneaky holes of control. See, control is either freaky, sneaky, or shady because it's a limitation within yourself. And everything you learned from outside world is what somebody else wanted you to know and do. When you can realize the outside world is totally innocent, you open up to your internal nerve, naturally opening celebratory energy, naturally tantalizing the wise within yourself. And the sneaky holes of control, the creepy holes of control, the freaky holes of control is something I use to teach myself to wallow in the hollow haunts of people pleasing, squeezing me internally to follow the herd of herdocracy, stepping in their turdocracy, because it was never about me. It was about me pleasing the outside world. See, most of what we learned in education is pleasing the outside world. We were taught to be people pleasers. And that happened to, well, color inside the lines to make mom and dad happy. I did good. Look, teacher, how good I did. Everything we did was to taught ourselves people pleasing ways. And then when you weren't in the clique and you always wanted to be, I was there. You always did things to make people like you. And that just followed us forward. But now if you look at people, we really are people pleasing because we're trying to follow what the wannabe leaders of the world want us to do, but we just step in our own poopy do, and then we go into the freak out holes of control and the creepy holes of being in charge of our life. And then when something goes awry, we get mad, cry, throw a fit, get angry, trying to revenge this. And everything unsavory and savory in the world, like hate, anger, frustration, that is your insecurities controlling your life. Pick me, I still have them. But it's not about having them, it's admitting I have them to communicate them away in a loving way. You always, if you're open to this, you communicate away all your unwanted things, people, adversity, controversy in a loving way. And when I say loving way, that's liberating, optimistic, visionary energy, sending it on its way to oblivion as you now begin in your own ways. When I was growing up, my parents always wanted to fit into the socialized cliques at school and all that. And then when you didn't fit into their cliques, which they ridiculed and criticized you and made fun of you. But really, when people ridicule you and criticize you and make fun of you, you're beyond their comfort zone of limitations and knowledge. Edison, when he made the light bulb, all of his friends were making fun of him. And look at today, usually the people that get ridiculed by society or criticized for trying to invent something beyond the socialized thinking memory mind, usually up making fools out of the socialized ways. The comfort zone limiting knowledge that we've all ingrained from propagandized media, shady sabotaging control by people here, as we hear and follow the media herdocracy malarkey that spews fascist felons tyranny, poles of oppression. See, all the stuff we think we're really getting from the media and all that, that's what somebody else wants them to say. Because like 7 companies own the national media. There's people out there that are really good, like on Rumble and many others. If you can listen, but if you're really open to understand the freaky holes of control and the creepy holes of control, you'll understand who we feel or think is running the world. They're not. There is a silent fascist felons that control the world. And they manipulate us through the media, the education, even politics. When you can understand that we're being manipulated, then you can unmanipulate yourself, because you're manipulating yourself with education. Once I started really rising out of the education system to understand what it's really doing, the 2 things that are the biggest lie in the world right now is education and business is going to rise the world out of the situation we're in. That's the biggest lie in the world. You will rise the world out of this situation with your ingenuity, innovation, intuition. And something I opened up to today, are they introducing us to AI to make our lives better? Are they opening AI to steal the wisdom of the people? And it can go either way. For me, if I send it out to somebody's control in a computer and it comes back, whose wisdom is that? It's AI knowledge, but is it my wisdom? Wisdom comes from practical experiences in life. And if you open up to your wisdom to listen and question and image your inspirations, you'll forever rise out of the freaky holes of control. And see, we freak out about everything that ain't inside the socialized system of all the outside sources. And one thing about, if I can get people to use something that's written by a computer or something like that, I can control the way they respond to life. See, if you're thinking your way through life and never listening, you're thinking from yesterday. You listen of the here and now. You listen to the liberating invitation, streaming, trend-setting, enterprising, now Snous's wisdom. But, and how does that take over? How is the world's daily way of thinking, knowing, and responding, reacting to their life, encounters, events, and experiences come from the freaky hole of control, the creepy hole of taking charge of your life, and a shadowy hole of other people's thinking and knowing? That's education, business, and all that. Yes, education and business are a foundation, but they ain't the main. They're not necessarily the way of life. Because if you take all the business people and send them home, the CEOs, the politicians home for 30 days, would the world still function? Yeah. But you send home the electrician, the powerhouse people, nurses, all the hourly workers, the world is shut down. That's unique. We think that this is this, but it's really something else. And see, and I was a union member, and something I giggle about now. In the 50s and 40s, unions had a good concept. Then they let their male egotistical arrogance take over, and they never showed people the power of collective bargaining. The unions destroyed themselves through their own arrogance. And they thought, and when you think you control the world and you're in charge, you're going to get hit with a barrage of karma, because you're going to be in that freaky hole of control and that creepy hole of taking charge, because you're going to get hit with a barrage of unsavory events. Did you ever notice, ever pay attention? People that get really high and mighty, well, look at Epstein is the best, and Madoff. They were riding high. Then Mr. Karma, he come riding in on his Shetland pony and took their stallions and give them a place to live. See, karma is going to come back. And that's something I really opened up to, is I make sure I'm kind and I put forth something where karma and me are buddies instead of that is that. As I now realize and admit my freaky holes of control, I learned from outside sources, thinking and knowing and controlling knowledge I taught myself, I used throughout my daily encounters, experiences, all went away 5 seconds ago as I communicated away my freaky holes of control, my creepy holes of being in charge of of nothing. People people pleasing, and see something education has done in the world, and we've done it through society. It ain't education; it's been all through society. We made people, well, made me and people afraid of our intuition, imagination, innovation, inspiration, and trailblazer talents, because it never was inside the freaky hole of control and the creepy hole of being in charge, but it wasn't in the shallow, uh, hollowness of an education system. And we've been taught business education, while they got us programmed and propagandized for our own demise. So that all passed away 4 seconds ago as I let fly my free-flowing Picasso prowess, daringly designing my lush, desired lifestyle, dreamers' paradises, and moneyed-up accomplished outcomes, because I listen, image my inspirations, question my life, understand, comprehend my mother wit wisdom that energizes my robust revelations for me to enjoy my life of leisure and relaxation. Because the more I relax, the more I listen to life's free flowing energy of innovation, imagination, intuition, to rise me out of my freaky holes of control, creepy holes of being in charge, and the sheepocracy of me thinking other people know enough to help me when they can't help themselves. If you really ever look at some of the things that people are telling people, they're pretty shallow, but they're telling you, see, I am who I am. So I rocketed out, realize and admit, I rocketed out of my freaky holes of control, blasted my sneaky holes of being in charge to smithereens, and I dynamited my shady hole, the media's shady holes of control to oblivion, as I now begin to embellish. Now I won, embellishing my hellraiser's politically incorrect, spirit poised, sovereign valor, hard chutzpah, soul ardor, accelerate my soaring intuition, innovate, and sculpt my colors of my inspired images. Thank you.